Yes, the games continue now from the London Major as we prepare to find out what's happening with Gambit and HellRaisers. We're live from the Twickenham Stadium for the Challenger stage, and we're going to be seeing exactly what Gambit are made of. They're going up against the HellRaisers, who a lot are looking as an underdog, a dark horse in this Challenger stage to pick up that legend name. And in fact, you know what? Some even suggesting that it's a guarantee. Still, Gambit stand in their way, and of course, defending major champions. At least the organization was when they stepped out on the Krakow stage and lifted that trophy. Did see, of course, Boston follow that, and Cloud9 took that trophy. Neither side have managed to resurge with any particular presence, and now it's time for Gambit to prove their worth here in this stage of competition. I do have Jacob Pimp-Vinegar and, of course, Damien Steele hanging out. I love saying your name, to talk a little bit more about this one. Now, Jacob, you said this is very exciting because you consider it a domestic matchup of sorts. I mean, this is a very multinational HellRaisers roster we've got.
You could say so, but it's still like the identity of the team and the beginning of the teams are coming from the same place.
Hell yeah.
A lot of these players have also played with each other back in the days on different occasions, different teams, so they know each other very well, and it's within the same region as well where they normally used to play. So a lot of asterisks to it. I do believe it's a fun game because I feel like the two styles of the team are very different as well. HellRaisers being this ultra-aggressive team who always want to go for the duel, go for the flashy plays, whereas Gambit have involved into a little bit more, some may say boring team, where they just sit back, wait for what happens, and if they count the goal, they count it. If not, then they have nothing. Yeah,
and if you want to get involved in this conversation, sorry, Daps, I just want to let everyone know to hit us up with the hashtag FACEIT Major. Nice and easy. You can get involved and let us know who you think is going to be taking this one. I'll be asking them a little later on, unless you want to get called out by players for making a logical decision and conclusion. Still, let's move on. Let's look a little bit closer at Gambit. Some serious, hardcore firepower from Gambit recently, especially Mr. Mo, who's been firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, Mo's been their most consistent player over the last 3 months. It's really just Hobbit and Adren that we really want to see get back to that star form that they had when they won the Major. But I think Gambit's biggest problem recently, and their coach Blade even said it, is their lack of leadership or lack of an IGL, or real IGL. So it's going to be interesting to see how they sort of handle not having a set IGL.
Just to pick up on that point, I do definitely agree with you that it is a problem for Gambit. The thing is, with this Gambit lineup, they haven't had a real in-game leader ever since Zeus left them, yet they've still been able to produce a little bit of result here and there. I remember a year ago in Malmö, I believe, where they did super well without their coach in Zeus, so it's not like this team can't do it without the coach, so this lack of leadership has been a problem forever. It's just the players are not performing to the same level they used to do. Adrian has been going nowhere ever since he was considered one of the 5 best players in the world. Hobbit were at some point also considered a top-tier player, but hasn't really shown anything either. So just the fact that you said it yourself, Mo is the most consistent player right now, and Mo is known for being inconsistent. So in that regard, it's just a problem.
Yeah, these rosters are brought to you by DreamTeam.gg, and I got excited for a second. Blade was at the PC. I was like, wow, I've got this wrong. He's back. But there is a change in this roster, and that is, of course, Blade's presence, Jacob. They brought in one of the most highly regarded brains from the region to step in as the coach.
And if anyone know how to qualify a team for a major, it would be Blade. He's done it so many times with Flipside. He's done it so many times with a team where you think, and you look at the lineup, think to yourself, there's no way these guys are going to go to the major. There's no way they're going to beat Dignitas with Pimp on the lineup, for example, but yet they do it all the time. So he has the experience, he knows how to play the game, and he knows how to make the best out of the player he has to work with. The problem for him is he lacks that in-game leader. He lacks that guy he can go to on the team, tell them, you know, when you're in a pressure situation, when I'm not allowed to talk, you need to say this, that, and that, and he just doesn't have that figure on the team, and I think that's where Blade is currently a little bit frustrated with the team.
They've been looking for that for a while. We'll continue this conversation after we address, of course, their opponents. It's HellRaisers. We'll be talking about exactly what they are made of. And in fact, it's a multinational roster of hard hitters and young up-and-coming stars, the likes of Issa and Woxic, who have broken onto the scene and truly taken it by the horns. Angel, Bondic, and Dead Fox rounding out this roster. Daps, your expectations for HellRaisers here?
I mean, HellRaisers has always been sort of an upset team, but my expectations for them this event is a lot higher just because they have Woxic since the first match for once. In this match specifically, I mean, Gambit has the chance to get revenge on them. They sort of lost at Stockholm when Woxic wasn't even there. Nookie from Imperial was actually standing in for HellRaisers, and Gambit still lost in a best-of-3. So it just shows that how dangerous HellRaisers is if they're able to take BO3 wins without their best player.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys bring once again. HellRaisers, with even sometimes having to operate without their full roster. In fact, it feels like more often than not, there's always some issue plaguing these guys, whether it be visa issues or something else. This time, though, they step into the London Major with everything they need. They've got the coach. They have Jonta, who actually a lot of people have been giving a lot of love to. He seems to have his head screwed on right when it comes to Counter-Strike, Jacob.
I mean, just making HellRaisers work as a team requires a lot of determination and a lot of brain power, so I think he's doing a good job there. You have to think about this team in a way that they're very unorthodox when you look towards their opponents. There's not many teams who have this many different nationalities on them. There's not many teams who have different nationalities who chooses to play the brand of Counter-Strike they choose, and in that regard, they're just unique in the way they do it. Angel being the in-game leader, going in first, going for the entry-frags, you don't have many of those anymore. MSL used to be one of the guys, he's not anymore, so they have a lot of unique stuff surrounding this team.
Let's take a look at the head-to-head. It's brought to you by The Predator, which is in cinemas September 14th. Who have we got today? The scores on the doors for Mo and Woxic.
Yeah, I think this is the most logical head-to-head to have. It's both teams' best players and both oppers. So you're going to expect a big performance out of both. I think Woxic is just one of these really sort of... It's a player you don't see too much at events, and he's just so amazing.
You seem like a big fan.
Yeah, it's a shame that you don't get to see him because of visa issues.
Yeah, he's really good looking to take over, of course. Hailing from Turkey, we get to see more from him as he actually climbed the FPL circuit at the FACEIT Major we find ourselves now. It's full circle for him, and now it's time to talk maps.
Yeah, well, I mean, Nuke's going to be off the tail from... Yeah, it's already there. That's their permaban. As for Gambit, I want to see... I'm actually surprised HellRaisers got rid of Train, because you could bait Gambit into a Train pick all the time, since Gambit loves it for some reason. As for Gambit, I think they're going to try and want to end up on Cash here. I think I'm going to call it Cash early.
Cash wouldn't be a bad pick for them. I'm afraid we're going to see Inferno one more time, and we've seen it a lot of times. But it is a map where both teams feel fairly comfortable, and especially with the difference between these two teams. We just had them head-to-head. Woxic going up against the type of AVP of the Maoist, it's two very different playstyles. Mao is very laid back, very sit back, waiting for the stuff to happen, whereas Woxic is super aggressive, trying to find the peaks. And notoriously, Mo have a big disadvantage going against AVPs that is necessarily better than him. So in that regard, it's not a good map pick for them. So good to see we got Overpass, which is I will say Voxic's best map, and I think he's potentially together with Cirque the best AVP in the entire world on Overpass.
You were about to I saw you pause. Yeah, you were about to go crazy, and you were like, hang on a second. Let's manage expectations.
Yeah.
But one of the best on Overpass.
Without a doubt, I think him and Cirque, your teammate, is two players who, for some reason, just have a super good understanding of how to get peaks by themselves on Overpass.
Is it something you've taken a close look at, Daps, trying to mold Cirque into that Overpass AWPer?
I mean, when we got him, he just came packaged and delivered as a good Overpass player. So it was honestly, it was kind of a treat. I think that was Windingo's best map, actually. So I didn't have to teach him that much on Overpass. It was mainly Cash I had to teach Cirque a lot on because they don't play it.
It is time for predictions, gentlemen. Let's see what you're thinking. Get the thinking caps on and let's start talking. HellRaisers versus Gambit. Who's taking this bad boy? Oh, we've got a split caster desk. Bardolph and Dan. One for HellRaisers, one for Gambit.
I mean, I thought Dan was a smart guy, but apparently not. So I'm going to side with HellRaisers. I think they have everything it takes, and I think what we've seen for them so far, it's pretty much only been Mao who's had a great tournament from Gambit. So unless he goes completely crazy against a guy like Woxic, I don't see them having many chances, which is not going to happen because Woxic is just too good.
Yeah.
I think Gambit's looked better this tournament, for sure. But just the fact that HellRaisers can beat Gambit with a stand-in and now they have their full lineup, I think the logical choice is HellRaisers.
Yeah, I'm actually going to have to join you as well. So just Dan for Gambit at this point in time.
He's always been an outsider, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, you know what? We saw. I think it's Gambit's loss to Tyloo that's leaving a bit of a lasting mark, a lasting impression. And just hearing Blade, the coach of the team, saying we haven't got a leader, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Just give you more confidence in the team, right?
Exactly. But we'll see what was going to be going down in the server because it's time to jump into Overpass and over to your casters as well. DDK and Bardolph hanging out at the caster desk.
Thank you, Alex. He's gone from saying my name and saying half of your name to saying my name and saying your nickname instead. Yeah. Which is your initials in fairness, so technically it's like your acronym. Well, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Hello.
So
we're on now.
To defend myself, I chose Gambit because last time they played HellRaisers, it was 16-4 on Overpass. So I feel like you know the
man's done his research.
Yeah, it's like they've faced HellRaisers a couple times. That was the end of June. That was ESL New York. I mean, they faced them a couple times, and I think it's the head-to-head records like 10 10-8, I think, in favor of HellRaisers. So it's obviously a tight matchup. This is a domestic matchup. Like, when matchups,
yeah. That's why it's hard to go in with too much confidence. Let us know what you guys think, though, on the Upcomer app, upcomer.com. You can download it on your relevant app stores and give us your percentages. We're going to see the current ones very shortly indeed, so it is a favoured game for HellRaisers on the Intertubes as well. I do think this one, I think it is cliche to say, I think that's fair, but it is, this one can go either way. But I'm excited, like, you know, we love the Gambit players. For those of you on GoTV, I'm definitely going with Mo and Woxic. I think those are going to be very interesting, as Desk alluded to. But I mean, there's lots of players that we love on Gambit. But HellRaisers are looking better than we've seen them before. I love the new guys on their team, and I mean, it's pretty much 50-50 for me. I wouldn't. I would love to see either of these teams win. But do you know what? I want to see HellRaisers win just for a post-match interview with Issa and Woxic would be hilarious. Although I think for him, I tried to avoid it this time, but it would be very interesting to see. But yeah, I'm fans of these teams. I still don't have a Gambit Polo though.
Yes, it's I don't know. It's just one of those things. We don't see a huge amount of these domestic matchups per se these days, just because we're seeing more and more international lineups. So you know, before, you know, for example, you'd get that you know, French derby or Swedish derby and so on and so forth. Then I mean, you know, we'll still get the Swedish derby from time to time. The classic, in fact, you know, NIP and Fnatic is probably like the El Clasico, you know, of derbies. But yeah, I think this is these teams, these players, they know each other so well.
For those of you wondering, actually, I don't know if production can put us back on the camera, but in relation to derbies, the reason we have these little Swedish things here is because when we have, during like the ECS show, when we have a national derby, we try to just buy things from the region. So we got this Dolehust from there's a Swedish shop in the middle of London near Edgware Road, and I went there and we just spent a few £100s. We bought all kinds of crap. So these little Swedish things you see around, they are here. We're not biased. They're just here because they're just the props. People keep losing our props, man. But so these props were around. Somebody asked me to turn this over as well. Once I bought this because Dan used to waffle on a lot in our earlier shows. So I bought a timer and said, you've got 15 minutes to make your point, because it's got the number 15 on. So there we go. See how long that lasts, probably 15 minutes. So that's why we have all these Swedish bits and bobs in the background. I think we did a French one before.
Did we?
I think we had like I think we had a baguette wrist rest. So it's like this rubber floppy baguette. Remember that?
Yeah. I don't know if that was specifically a French thing that we did, but the Swedish one was like that was like, oh god, it's like near the end of the season. We've got loads of props budget. We've got a huge budget for props. We haven't spent any money. This is like £200. Yeah. And it's like, this is doesn't make any sense right here. I mean, contextually, there is no context for this. It's like a Christmassy thing, right? It's a
But it's nice, isn't it? It's hand painted, and that's part of the reason why they're so expensive, is because they are hand painted. So that is it's a nice object there.
I mean, I could paint that.
I don't think you should paint that. Although, actually, speaking of paint, there's still a video that we haven't released. A long time ago, Sadakist did we got a TV, and we got our friend Beth Freeman. You should follow her on Twitch. She's a great artist. And we got him to do a Bob Ross painting in conjunction with the show, with no pausing or anything, and she was there to help him out. However, in processing the video, the audio was lost. It wasn't me, of course, but somebody lost the audio, so we have the video just with no sound. But I'm thinking, when he's here next week, maybe we get him to like narrate it or something, and then put it out there, because the painting's pretty cool, and it is in our office somewhere, but we haven't been able to publish it because it's got no bloody sound. So we'll try and do something with that so you can see it. He's got some skills. I think he might have done some. I want to say he's done some classes in the past, but I might be lying.
I mean, he's an artsy guy.
He's a what?
He's a very artsy guy. What do you think I said?
Never mind. We are 15 seconds away from the beginning of Overpass. Gambit are going to be starting on the CT side. I cannot wait to get this one kicked off.
So again, these two teams have faced each other loads of times. I believe, what was it? It was 16 times in total, the head-to-head statistics on HLTV. The 2 times they have faced on Overpass, on those stats, it was a Gambit victory, last time being 16-4, and the previous one I think was 16-10 or something like that. So Gambit, starting off on the CT side, we've seen what very accomplished Overpass teams can do with that. First comes the pistol. Let's see what their approach is. This is like a really weird...
It's really funny because the clock's on 0 and nothing's happening.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. That's why I didn't say anything, because I was like, I can see nothing's going to happen. This is hilarious. I'm just going to leave it. And yeah, soon we shall begin. So I opened, I think, 14 souvenir boxes yesterday, or something along those lines. They cost me more than £100 because I wanted those racing skins. I want to say they're in the nuke box. I could be mistaken. I wanted the 2 racing skins in the MP7 Fade. I bought £100 of boxes. I got absolute tat and tried to sell most of those things. And then I bought an MP7 Fade. They were on for $240, but then this morning they were £100, and they will probably get a lot cheaper as well. But it was like a low floaty thing, so I was like, I'm gonna buy this, even though it's really stupid. So I did that, but I'm happy with that. It looks pretty cool. Anyway, now we are into the game, and we are 5 seconds away. Hobbit's gonna have a defuse kit and 2 flashbangs. Let's see how many Gambit players end up in the B bomb site earlier on. Looks like it's going to be 4.
Yeah, yeah. This is a matchup where I really want to see Mo on the AWP ASAP, and perhaps that'll be the case, depending how this pistol goes. Now the movement from HellRaisers all the way through that connector tunnel. Very silent, very quiet, waiting to see what they can glance at the situation. Nothing really. Okay, well there's the burst going through the door and spotted there by Gambit. Gambit have 4 players ready to respond to this. And there is the first movement. HellRaisers seeing what they can get. Bondik finds himself a quick headshot, and there is a very fast rotation back to the A site for HellRaisers.
Bondik is still on B, however. So this rotation can be heard. Mo's keeping an eye on things on the low ground in the meantime, but obviously the action is up here. So far so good for Adren, moving back to stay alive, and now the rotation is going back again, but Mo can hear all of this because of his position. Bondik sees him with graffiti now. Now Mir is making his way down as well, but Issa is still waiting up A long. There is still time for them to rotate again, but I don't think they realize that there are 2 CTs here now. There are 3, but the bomb is just about to make its way into the site with Dead Fox, so perhaps HellRaisers are at the point of no return.
It's looking very difficult right now, but can Gambit make this first couple frags happen to progress on towards that bomb, forcing Dead Fox back as he tries to work the pillar. Numbers are starting to dwindle. That's a beautiful headshot from him. Traded out by Mir, though. As Issa now uses that vantage point to great effect. The trade, though, from Mir is so good. If he doesn't get the kill quickly, I don't think he's going to survive at all. So, really nicely done.
3k left with 3 HP. 1, 2, 3. And that is the pistol round for Gambit. That is a very interesting round of Overpass. Don't really see that many rotations on a pistol round, but it was cool to watch, trying to play with the information, and of course Mo's position, I'm sure, was very important to get those rotations in sooner rather than later. Well then, the bomb was planted for HellRaisers. Often when the bomb is planted, this will be an eco round for the T side, because if they don't buy much, they'll be able to afford the AK-47s in round number 3. They may not have all the grenades in the world, however, it does allow them to try to stop the CTs from making a good economy, and we all know how important that is. Rifles and SMGs out for the Gambit side. Starting around the toilets with 1 player in long, and then moving back, as they will want to try to abuse the superior range they have. They will expect Glocks and maybe the odd P250 in this round, but you never know. Sometimes these T teams in this situation may go for a surprise force buy, drop some SMGs. But Adren will know that they had no Kevlar. That should be some good information for the CTs. A very fast went from Hobbit will make this an easy round for Gambit.
Yeah, good stuff there, really clean. AKs will be coming out now, and this is obviously a very scary round potentially for Gambit. Okay, sure, you know, maybe you lose this round and you know that sucks and everything, but you know it's okay, we can rebuy. But then even if they win that round, still, you know, it's going to be a while till they are able to pick up AWPs. Their economy is going to be really out of balance. So, you know, for Gambit, they really need to try to find a way to close this one down. And I wonder what their interpretation of HellRaisers will be for HellRaisers' first buy round with AKs. Like, what do Gambit think they'll go for? Sometimes you want to try to make a read, but sometimes it's better if you don't have anything concrete to go off of, just to play pretty passively, get the good basics in there, good fundamentals, keep things safe. And I like this here from Gambit. They are playing quite passively towards the A side of the map. Those AKs are very dangerous over there, and they're taking the close ranges where those, you know, there's the MP9 is going to be good, the UMP as well. Got Hobbit playing that Sewer's position. Mir is there to support him with that M4 from shorts. And Gambit, they've covered a lot of ground and they don't see anything so far, and we're approaching a minute mark. They've got to start to wonder now what's going on.
Mir joining Hobbit in the short B position. Really hard to deal with Hobbit's position, but you can see a flash being lined up, so I think the door is about to open. The door of opportunity. Mir, did he hit a sound cue there? He looks away from it, and Hobbit deals with the first player. He's got the reload in, but he will get absolutely annihilated by Angel. They haven't seen the bomb just yet, HellRaisers. But Fred is in a flanking position, but the flank will not come in fast enough. Mo now on the low ground, on his own. Does he try to keep the real estate or go for the frags? It will be the latter, and he will die on his sword, leaving his friend in the short B position. The Clutch King with 100 ping has 2 low health plays to deal with now. Smoke grenade on the site. I don't know if anybody's in there. Unlikely though. CZ Box is shattered. 3 fires there, but the trade is here from Woxic, and that will be the round for HellRaisers.
And yeah, definitely not ideal to drop around there for Gambit, but again, as mentioned, they have enough money for a rebuy. It's not going to be pretty, but nor will it be for HellRaisers either. So both teams now playing essentially, you know, a 1 for 2. You know, if they, you know, well, rather, sorry, 2 for 1. Saying it backwards there. Whichever team wins this round is likely going to be able to easily win the follow-up round, as they'll be against an eco. So AWP purchased by Mo. He had enough after all, so that's fantastic. The Gambit were able to do that. Of course, utility has been sacrificed, but perhaps indeed the speed, the skill, the prowess of Mo is good enough to mitigate that fact, that low utility, and information now spotted by Gambit as well to play off of. This is a good start for them.
Wow. Oh my god, Angel, what in the blazes was that? Oh. He is on one today. 3 kills in very quick fashion. That first one was nasty, and that might be the end of the round as far as Gambit are concerned. The first CT, who was, again, one thing which I think is important for people at home to understand is the value in not just holding an angle as a CT the entire time, but peeking every so often. Because it can allow Angel, for example, to look, let's say he was walking into the site and the CT's not peeking. He might think, okay, nobody's there, let me look towards the balcony. Then the guy peeks, basically a free kill for him. But to take him out like that was absolutely savage. And the second kill was so fast as well. In terms of the GoTV picks, I want to add a Dren when he's on the T side because he is really good on Overpass. But I mean, Angel is giving us a hell of a shout at the moment.
Yeah, and that's something that Angel used to be always, for me at least, quite exciting with is some of these aggressive plays. He's always very good with pistols as well, and just, you know, creating very dynamic situations and you know, kind of like I don't want to compare him to Stewie or something, but like it's a similar sort of aggressive, like hyper-aggressive style that sometimes he pulls out, and it's really nice. And hopefully we'll be able to see that. Yeah, here it is. Ooh, wow, okay. His transfers. And look at that. That's beautiful mechanics there from Angel. With a great crosshair placement.
That is wonderful. He's got a Bob Ross paintbrush now.
Yeah, that was clinical. Ooh, that's really good for HellRaisers. Gambit, of course, they still keep the AWP on Mo. I'm really curious how they'll try to use that. Lots of different methods. Mo will try to take an aggression here towards this long position with that AWP, see if he can pick somebody else off. And there is a boost here. Oh, he's looking for it, Mo. That is fantastic. And he'll run away with that one. HellRaisers will not be able to trade that frag. They did get some damage onto him, but I think Mo will be more than happy. You can see Isa trying to dispose of the gun. And HellRaisers now down to 4 players. They have to make a decision now. It can't really keep spreading out when there's an AWP on the field.
Waiting game for HellRaisers. Gambit looking for information. Got the 3-man tower. Did they see the Molotov? Perhaps they did, but I mean, they're in position to take someone out from short B regardless, so they will focus on that for the time being. Short B smoked off, and that should be the information for the CCs, but How do they escape this position now? How invested are they into this situation? Mo's on the high ground with the AWP, so perhaps he can escape. He's got less than half life, but this M4 may be lost by the charge. Look at the flank numbers game. 4 people peeking at the same time, but they are so ill-equipped. Only Adren with the M4 gets the kill. The bomb planted, and it's time for Mo to hold on to his AWP. But of course, this is a strong angle for a sniper, especially if you can depend on them to land the shot. Take a shot, get a kill, and then fall back. You can reposition. Very scary for HellRaisers to continue to pursue should they find him in this position. HellRaisers taking the lead now 3-2 over Gambit. 3 rounds in a row for HellRaisers. They'll be very happy with that. Nice momentum. In the meantime, this will be a loss bonus of 2,400 for Gambit. You do the maths. Streamer maths is not recommended and can often go wrong.
Well, you know, at least for Mo, he's going to keep on holding on to that AWP and
keep on trucking.
Yeah, I mean, he's been great so far with it. I think he's gotten a pick every single time. I mean, of course, I say that it's like 2 of 2 times, but still, you know, it's definitely really cool to see that he's keeping hold of it. And so we have a technical pause. So the buy will come in from Gambit in this following round. They won't have an enormous amount of utility, and Mo still has the AWP. So I would expect to see an aggressive play from Mo once again. We haven't seen him go towards the party position just yet. So perhaps that could be one of the classic peaks, or perhaps he may go sewers. I think there's a lot that he can go to on Overpass. That's why this map is so scary when you have AWPers of his caliber.
Okay, people are dealing with something downstairs. We'll find out more information a bit later on, but hopefully it is a brief one. Make sure, those of you watching at home, make sure your Steam account is connected to your relevant place of choice that you're watching on, be it Twitch or YouTube. Of course, if you're watching on Steam TV, then that's already done. Same for GoTV as well. Don't forget to let us know who you think is going to win this. Also, let me know if you've got any souvenir boxes, let me know what was inside. Send me a picture, especially if it's a good one, because my one sucks.
How do you think this is going to go, James? You know, this is a pretty pivotal moment. You know, it's the next buy of Gambit. They're going to be spending all the monies. If they lose, it'll be the 4th round loss in a row.
I'm curious to see if Mo will drop, because Mo's holding his AWP, but everybody else has pretty much got the same money, well, including him, for 4,300 on average. Because if they buy for themselves and are a bit short versus if he bought for someone, then he has another AWP. With ease in the future, but I do wonder what the thinking is like in a professional team in that regard, because we always see Nifty prioritize AWP in terms of like eco rounds and so on. And he's not getting his he's not investing in those. He's saving because it's a big priority. But I wonder where the grey area or the line is in terms of such priority.
Yeah, I think I would like for them to make it the strongest buy round possible. You know, if it was me making the choice, and because if Mo drops the AWP right now, Mo has $4,200. So if he drops an M4, you know, he's going to have 1,000 left with which to buy nades, which is, you know, pretty much, you know, more or less a full nade set. So for himself and a teammate will also then have a full nade set as well. And if someone picks a UMP or something, they can actually have a round with a lot of nades and good guns. And I think that it's a shame to play a map like this where the rounds can be very long and it's a very tactical map and you don't have the utility to play it out with. It can be very difficult, especially if HellRaisers decide to play have a really good round, a really good default with a lot of good pressure. It's a tense moment for Gambit because this is where things could get really out of hand if they're not careful. And for HellRaisers, they are positioned quite nicely to shut them down, and there's all sorts of things that HellRaisers can do here.
All right, so the pause right now is just the techs are doing a check on the network connection to make sure everything is hunky-dory and there will be no issues. Then they've got some kind of flag, so they're just making sure that everything is good before they continue. They've been... everything's been good so far, so hopefully it continues that way.
Yeah, I think... So I'm gonna say what I would like HellRaisers to do, and then I want you to
educate
offer your opinion as well.
Okay.
For me, I would like to see. I don't know if they'll do this. It might be that HellRaisers will just do like you know, a typical default, but I would like to see, as part of the default, just taking sewers away really quickly, because Gambit have already shown that they've you know, wanted to fight them when they had, you know, a couple, you know, leftover SMGs and stuff like that. Just take sewers away, because that also, you're going to have more utility than the CTs, and that's a way where you'll force them to use some of that utility straight away as well. And so that's like one of the reasons why I like that approach. So what approach would you like, James?
I mean, that's always important. I did see that in the previous round, but my memory's so terrible that I don't know what the... Yeah, I did see them do that in a previous round. Yeah, I remember Hobbit was on the other side of the tunnel, and then Mir came along to say hello. So I'm sure we will see more of that. I mean, it's still early days here, so there's still information to absorb at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Mo has AWP. I mean, partly it depends on, as far as Mo's concerned, it depends on spawn. Right now, he's behind the truck, so not really the greatest spawn to go for a pick, be it in the to the balloon area or in connector. Another thing to look out for as well, I think Overpass is always a very stimulating match to watch in terms of how a team supports a rifler. I think I actually made a video of Daps' team, NRG, and how they would support Cirque around the toilets area. But I mean, SK were always a great team to watch. They've changed their play dramatically since then, but when you would have them play around connector, around the middle of toilets, in the sandwich position and other places, you could learn a hell of a lot as to how, let's say, the sniper might be the initial engager and the rifler can clean up or allow the sniper to fall back or re-peek, or you know, all these different things. There's a lot you can learn about two-man setups on a CT side, which are very easy to employ if you discuss briefly at the beginning of a round or a match with somebody, even if you're playing in matchmaking with somebody completely random. You can make a two-man setup work. Like if you're playing Cash, for example, you need to do that to get a smoke and a Molotov out onto the entrance and the roof and so on. So, yes.
I think Big showed a lot of really cool, very typically strong CT setups with AWPs in their matchups on Overpass earlier in this tournament. So that's something you can look forward to. Smuya, for example, playing a sort of passive AWP on B short was really cool as a support, looking into the squeaky door, whilst his teammate was playing, you know, where we saw Hobbit previously, you know, deep in the sewers on the other side of the tunnel. And so then they open the door, they try to peek out, and boom, there's an AWP in their face. So that's a pretty hard 1v1 to win. So, but that's definitely, if you have two AWPers, it's really nice to stick one there. But we'll see now. We'll get to actually figure out what HellRaisers choose to do very soon. So the round has begun, and it's an AWP onto Woxic now. That's a scary prospect. It looks like they are going for a more typical default there, spreading across the map, the entire width of the map, and Adren's gone deep through to the fountain. Let's see what he can do here. Deadfox, meanwhile, going for an aggressive play. Hobbit will shut it down. Adren will shut down Woxic. Sees the bomb as well. Can't do much about it, but that's a really good start. Can he get out of there alive? Spinning around, unsure where to look. And that will be a 4 versus 3 for Gambit. Still a pretty decent situation early in the round.
Angels in a short B area, as you can see, up on the rail. There are Molotovs you can deploy to go on the high ground and the low ground here. I still want to see somebody, they're always facing the same way, right, for a short B push. I still want to see a flashbang from barrels to blind that player, and a Molotov, so he stands in a Molotov and just dies without knowing what's going on because he's blind. Somebody has to do that. Make it happen. Ooh, Angel, surely he saw the gun. Surely he saw the barrel of the gun. Perhaps not. Oh, I feel like there's so much information. Anyway, while that continues, Issa is wondering what is going on near the balloon area. And indeed, the CTs have fallen back. Maybe feeling like HellRaisers will be pressured to push the B part of the map. There are 3 people in the B bomb site now. So Issa's the information man. He's doing recon. So I think that Molotov was, well, in part, if somebody was close behind the wall, he would hear that the Molotov touch him. You can spray that wall with an AK, with a rifle, as well as an AWP. Those are missing the mark there, and now that's the bomb spotted, and the push is coming in from HellRaisers.
This is the last dish attempt, 13 seconds to go. Issa, very nice, but the trade comes in from Mo. 4 AP for Bondic. Can he survive and plant? They're going to rush him down. He gets the bomb planted at the very least. And all things considered, that's a decent result with 3 kills behind it as well. Let's not forget that HellRaisers do have a pretty good economy behind this due to the previous successes. But that is the perfect response for Gambit. That is absolutely what they needed. And of course, Mo still keeps you up. He's only got 2 deaths, James. He has not been dying very much.
It's not bad. Not bad. Issa dropping an AWP for Woxic. Going back to the molly he threw on the floor, I guess there's a lot of different things it can do. If someone's holding an angle, it might just make them look to their left-hand side to see what's going on there. Obviously, it covers some footsteps as well. And also would tell him if somebody is behind the corner of the wall, which you can spray, as aforementioned. So the snipers are out again. Mo trying to look over the smoke, but he will be flashed from his position. HellRaisers will be contained for a while in that connector area. I still don't know how to jump up onto that corner. I can't do it ever. And Hobbit's just made a sound, and he's failed again. He can't do this forever. I'm surprised they're not spraying him yet. Surely Angel can hear this. Must be wondering what exactly is going on. Oh, that is... He is very lucky to get away with that.
He should be dead.
Very lucky.
He's pushing his luck in more ways than one.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It can be precarious to be in connector, especially if you make a fast play there with a sniper rifle, because it's difficult to get out of connector and back towards the middle of toilets where Mo is to relatively safe haven. Angel quickly moves past. Is there a reaction from the CTs in terms of positioning? Adren moving back towards the long area after Mo spots that player pass, and indeed, Angel's going towards long.
Now, HellRaisers have far superior utility at this point. There's 40 seconds to go. And Gambit, they're in trouble. Well, it depends, actually. It depends how quickly HellRaisers can get into position to actually exploit this utility advantage. Oh my goodness, how does he miss that one? Well, he will get another chance, it seems, as he manages to evade the follow-up, but not for too long. Issa, through the smoke, will find his head, and that will trigger the push, surely. Only 20 seconds to get onto the bomb site. Adren needs to go absolutely hero. He needs to create heroics. That's what I'm trying to say here as he's playing the smoke. 9 seconds to go. He can't do a single thing, and that bomb will absolutely go down. And oh, this is not a good look here, James, for Gambit after just winning a round. They had some real chances here to make this a lot easier for themselves, but it was not to be.
The money is lacking, Dan. I think it is reasonable to say Mo will have exactly enough to just over... No, he'll have exactly enough to buy an AWP, so there will be a buy around these weapons, as you might expect anyway, with 3 people alive. But everyone is alive for HellRaisers. Excuse me. Are they going to pick up a second AWP, or are they disposing of it? I do wonder. It is being carried somewhere. Okay, it seems it will just be... I think he's taking it away from the stairs, so they cannot collect it if they were running up from the back, which is really smart. Great awareness there from Bondik. Always been a smart player to watch as well. Good place to learn from. So here we are, Gambit with a 1-round deficit, and they need to make ends meet in this round. There he is, Mo taking the AWP. You'll see it in a second. He's naked. And aside from that, I mean, the MP9s are the biggest problem for Gambit here, obviously, because there are quite a few different areas of engagement on an overpass where the distance won't be perfect for those weapons. And they are, of course, against the AK, so maybe that moving accuracy will need to come into play as well. Hobbit, is he going to try again? Okay, somebody link him how to do this, and also link me as well, because I've literally never made it up there for a single time.
Yeah, and he's actually getting punished this time. It could still go much worse. He could still just instantly die through the smoke.
You can see the danger in that rotation as well as the smoke dissipates. If the T's were there faster, he is absolutely dead. In the meantime, Mir has control of the short B position, so Gambit are trying to make up for their shortcomings in weaponry here.
It's been a slow pace from HellRaisers in a lot of these rounds, and I think Gambit are more than happy with that, considering, again, just how stretched their economy has been and how passive they are. Happy to play. Trying with a quick spot there of one player. 40 seconds to go. HellRaisers yet to make a significant move anywhere. They haven't forced any engagements. The pressure's been light at best until now, and there's 30 seconds, and they're not really close to hitting a bomb site here. They're going to have to rely on the entry frags towards B. And it doesn't feel like they have a great setup moving into this. 20 seconds. This is going to have to go right with no hitch. And here they go. Into the bomb site. and 13 seconds. Well, that's a good start, and well, looks like Doji will go down as well. So the defense collapses, and doesn't seem like it was an issue.
Yeah, I think this has to be a save. 5 versus 3 with no position, no flank. I think 3 weapons could have been held for here, but you have to expect to be hunted as well with all 5 players alive again for HellRaisers. So at least they've lost some players, which may slow things down, but now HellRaisers may start to pull away. Very important that they save this AWP, but I mean, Mo hasn't really... It's only Adren doing the big fragging at the moment for Gambit. Not much else is looking fantastic for them.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Gambit were very, very passive. You know, there's 25 seconds left. There's still nothing happening anywhere on the map. And, you know, have everyone on both sides just kind of like holding positions. And, you know, perhaps that's, you know, part of it. Maybe they're thinking, you know, if that's what HellRaisers are looking for, they're looking for us to make an information play, they're going to get a kill, and then the defense will collapse. So if we just play passively, don't show ourselves, then that's one way to deal with it. And I would say that's definitely a correct approach, because there's an inherent risk for the Ts. If they lose a player immediately on the entry, then things get really weird very quickly. But this is looking very strong for HellRaisers right now. Gambit don't really seem to be in the game on these buy rounds, James.
Yeah, someone is doing the talking right now, and a lot of people are doing the listening. So indeed, they get $1,900 for the loss of that round. And you can see the overall situation there. Difficult to, like if they buy around the AWP in this round and then lose it, their money's all over the place. So risks will have to be taken, because obviously they want to preserve the AWP as much as possible, but at the same time, that is arguably a shorter game, and they are playing the long one. Very early on this game. That tower is used as a lineup for a number of different things. Well, mostly for that smoke in default. Helps them plant the bomb, covers some space, lets them cross towards the CT water. There is Mo with the AWP, but there is a smoke. There's also a gap, so Issa has to be careful. They're going to try and boost him up. Hobbit's picked off in the meantime. Adren's still on a rotation, and Dozy on the flank.
Once again, it's Mo really just having to play survival game with this AWP of his. Can't really do much from this point, unfortunately, for Gambit. So Gambit, what they've been doing hasn't really been all that successful so far. Gonna have to find a way to freshen things up into these following rounds. Oh, hello. That was close. It's funny, it feels like Mo's only died on the rounds his team has won, but he never dies on the rounds because it seems like HellRaisers are so good at avoiding him so far.
Yeah, and that can be, I mean, he is a very, he has a big output. He has a big output, so that is not a bad decision to take. And I think we've seen him shine in the past. Obviously, I guess you see more of us at the majors. But I mean, he is a really good sniper, and hopefully during this tournament, with the viewers, we'll see that. Hopefully, we'll go on a journey of discovery with him. For those of you who aren't so familiar, but somehow he still has a sniper rifle, and he's going for a cheeky pick. Hello. Seen Kusa do plays like that on Inferno, ahead of a smoke, but can they escape? It's so dangerous to run back. It's really a nail biter, whether you're a sniper or otherwise. Has a quick look at a corner which used to be common for a jump peek. I always used to say that on Na'Vi, Edward would always jump peek there. I know, but nobody would ever shoot him. Guess there were less coaches and analysts back then. But now habits like that will get you in a lot of trouble.
And this is good from Gambit. They're playing more proactively. If we think to the round that they did win, they got 2 kills at the start of the round on either side of the map, playing aggressively. And this is a map that's incredible for CT aggression. Lots of ways to do it, lots of ways to be surprising, lots of ways to suppress your opponent's ability to take map control. And we have sewers here for Gambit, which will allow them to have more information as to what's going on, and they can shuffle their players around, lean more towards A. And Mo, he could be instrumental here. Could be an AWP 1 versus 1 battle in store for him very shortly. We'll see whether or not he'll be able to get the better of it. That's beautiful. Very quick shot onto Angel. And HellRaisers, they've got 30 seconds left, and they are not in a good position to take a site yet.
Hobbit is in the short B area, which is a lot of information for his team, and he can hear the rotation if people start to run down connector, because they would have to run at this point, which means they can stack the A bomb site. There's Issa picked off a flashbang as well, and these are warning signs for Gambit. Hobbit starting to flank now, as is Adren, and the bomb's still on the floor. No one's even collected it, and there are 10 seconds left. They are in no man's land, HellRaisers. And at this point, just trying to do some damage, and maybe that's all they can do. Keep the AWP out of the hands of Gambit, but it will be collected immediately.
I think Mo hit every shot there. I think he even hit Bondik in the head through like a really thick part of the wall or something like that right at the end. Might see that here perhaps in this highlight package. Beautiful stuff here. He just knows. Yeah, hit it. Yeah, okay. Big damage from Mo. Incredible stuff. And he is on point. He is absolutely on point. If they get him in more positions to succeed, he can lift them up here.
Yeah, and I look forward to Woxic on the CT side as well. Hobbit's picked up a second sniper rifle. Now, he has been playing in the connector position, smoking it off as we've seen. Now he's over towards the B bomb site, and Mir is there as he normally is. So there's a change in the configuration from Gambit, which is always important for the CT side. Meanwhile, Issa going for a pick, then Molotov fails, and now Hobbit's delivering with the sniper rifle, running distraction, but can his teammate trade? Dozier, he's got a binding frag there. Mir's here as well, though, and there is the frag for Dozier. Now the bomb's on the floor, and Woxic doesn't have many teammates to help him here. He's kind of trapped in this area, and this is giving more time for the CTs to rotate towards B.
Woxic, he's still dangerous in this position. A couple weakened players. There you go, Mo delivering once again. He's a savage so far here for Gambit. 11 kills and 4 deaths. He is so instrumental indeed. Angel looking to get some damage in on the outset of this round. They know exactly where he is, and a double peek. Really well done by Gambit in this round. And I kind of liked how Dozier was playing it in some ways, and in other ways not. He was kind of like just, I don't think he stopped at all. He was just peeking out from barrels and just running and spraying. It didn't look like he was aiming to really hit anything, but he created a huge distraction and stopped them from really pushing past the barrels, which allowed his teammates, such as Hobbit, to get kills. And then when Hobbit went down, he did the same thing, delayed even more, then the rotation comes in. So even though Dozier didn't really get much done there, he was a horrible threat for them to deal with.
Got a tactical timeout from HellRaisers at the moment. Now, opportunity knocks. They have the money to buy. So again, the focus has to be, we got 3 rounds in a row. Gambit have got 2. Okay. They can't even break them at this point, really, because Gambit have an average of $3,000 in the hole, as you can see. But what do they need to change? Gambit are enjoying some success. They've got some momentum. A pause is one way to break it. Sometimes people go for a tactical pause just to break the momentum of a team, mentally at least. Yeah. Or try to, rather. Hobbit and Mo continue with 2 sniper rifles, as does Woxic. Let's see if he can be the can opener for his team on the T side of Overpass. Not the easiest thing to do. We saw HellRaisers jump peeking. Ooh. Hello, but oh, wow. That is like a really hard situation to deal with, I think, for both of them, but Mo comes out on top this time. Mo red hot at the moment. That's not good if you're his enemy.
Yeah, that was stunning, wasn't it? HellRaisers trying to challenge Gambit to this A side of the map, and the aggression is overwhelming them. Gambit really switching things up, and it's working out wonderfully well. Issa and Bondik remain to try to do some damage. There's plenty of time, but it's going to be very difficult. You can see that Gambit have altered their setup to be more passive so that they don't have really anyone in any compromising positions. No advantages to be had for HellRaisers. And this is quite cool. You know, initially I was thinking, okay, this is Gambit are really showing big presence with Mo. Mo's hammering that A side of the map early on. He's starting, as you say, to get quite hot with that AWP. You can definitely see that HellRaisers were feeling it. They go for this really fast B response to try to break it up because they're not feeling that A pressure, and they get shut down at B. And so now the question is, okay, how can HellRaisers push the CTs back on the A side of the map? They have to do that first to really start to get more real estate and work rounds again. Look
at the hunt here. Dozier's behind the wall. He heard Issa jump, which is why Hobbit didn't re-peek through Monster. And now he is going to probably die. Trent's doing a great job of baiting there. You almost feel like he's guaranteed to die in that situation, especially after the first peek. He knows he's coming, and now, oh, he's been spotted.
Oh my God!
Got there in the end. I mean, he had to die there. There was just so many people.
That went on for so long. It's like everyone was shooting the same corner. That was so crazy.
That's a nice flick, because he sees like the top half of the egghead. There we go. Just a few rounds left now in this half, so everyone has a fighting chance going into the second half, regardless of what happens at 6-6. They've got that breathing room. Some Desert Eagles, well, a Desert Eagle and a P250 out for HellRaisers, so this won't be doing much in this round. I wonder if that was through the wall, because actually no, never mind. It was a leg.
Yeah,
it was not through the wall.
Caught him. Hello. Got to be really careful rounds like this. We've all seen it happen. Oh dear. That's an AWP in a very forward position there that can be collected by HellRaisers soon enough. Now Adren has to be careful. Does he go? Does he try to save that AWP? And now he's caught out of position.
Oh my God!
This is why you got to be really careful against these pistols. They move quickly, and you got to just cut your losses. Adren didn't do that. Now he's been lost. Mira's been lost. This is not supposed to happen. All these guns. Doesn't matter if that's a nice shot from Hobbit. James.
So we spoke about rifle support for a sniper player at the beginning of this game, and Mo was out there on his own. I don't know if he was concerned with them trying to shoot him as he fell back from the toilets position, which is why he stood in the corner instead. But I don't know. I think you can be better prepared for such a situation, because this should not be a thing. This should not be a thing. It's not something to dwell on now, though. They just need to look at that afterwards. Just move on. It happened, and whatever. Let's play.
It's the classic situation. You drop your guard. You think this round is going to be free. You drop the guards, and you get surprised by how fast pistols move. And that is something that's going to hurt. That could really be highly impactful on the outcome of this game. We'll see. As James said, you can't really dwell on that. But there's enough money for a proper buy here, so perhaps Gambit can somewhat salvage the situation. They haven't gone for this boost here before. Looking at the tunnel and sewers. No fast push there, though. Double AWPs here for HellRaisers, so it will likely be a slower round. Gambit, though, very forward presence. 3 players close to that fountain there around the party area. And Mo with the delayed peek. Flashed off the angle. Responsible stuff here from HellRaisers.
Double AWP on a T side can be very interesting, because sometimes we... Like if an opportunist second AWP is picked up, it can stop people from executing, let's say, a normal round that they might do. And if they wait too long to get a pick, which doesn't come because the CTs are passive, then it can leave them in a bind where they're trying to push a site with limited time in 2 AWPs, which can get really awkward, although some teams are super comfortable with it, like the Old Immortals team, for example. So let's see how well HellRaisers do. We have Dead Fox going for the picks. The scope. Hobbit should hear that. I think he's close enough to hear that, which means no one's going to peek. Now Mo's got an angle for people going in and out of connector. But again, we reach the 30-second mark, and the bomb starts to go towards the B-bomb site. Trent not wanting to die on his sword immediately, but Issa has the AK-47, and Mo's got to land that shot, but he has the information at least. He will rotate. Man advantage for HellRaisers as they push with 2 AWPs.
Yeah, and Mo, I think, can have enough information, as you say, to understand that they don't have time to go back to A, so he can rotate with full confidence. And that is dangerous, and these smokes are doing so much damage. They don't even have enough time to get through the choke points here, getting absolutely murdered on that push through the tunnel, and there is the finishing shot from Mo. HellRaisers, once again, not really leaving themselves with enough time. Haven't been punished for that too much in this half, but that's a very clear example of it.
Woxic manages to trade frag in the tunnel with the AWP, but were to expect anything less from him. But again, it was laboured. Angel was looking for an opportunity towards A as well, with about 15 seconds left on the clock. So if someone is still there looking to see what's going on, maybe he can sell a fake. But other than that, it's 2 AKs and 2 AWPs. Doesn't quite work out the way they wanted, so it will be a close half regardless. I've got a 4-man charge towards that long position. 2 players with pistols here for HellRaisers. playing the numbers game, staying close to the wall, walking past the bicycle, and Mo has seen a hell of a lot now, and he needs to run for it. He needs support, but can anyone get there fast enough? Now he's got rifle support. Adreno drawing for a grenade, goes back, and Dead Fox has the superior angle.
Mo still trying to get past here, but there's so much danger. There it is. That's an important shot. Now he doesn't have to worry about two angles. He might not necessarily know that. Using nades to cover his tracks as he falls back. And Mir now there with the AK, looking to spray down a very good angle here against that position. The teams are coming out from Woxic. Gets a kill on the Hobbit, but there's only so much he can do. And Gambit, they will salvage things. It should have been, very likely should have been 9-6 for them, but they will settle with an 8-7. But HellRaisers, I think that they can be happy with 7 T rounds, because going onto that CT side, James, just as you said, they have a lot of strength.
Yes, and there's lots of play. I think that's the main thing for both sides now. So we'll see who gets an early advantage with the pistol round. You can see number 6 there just saying, everybody chill, everybody reset. Let's think about the second half now. Some people may be frustrated with some of the rounds prior, but it's all history. You can't change it, you can't delete it. It is what it is. Must press on, push forward. Let's see what Gambit have to offer, what they'll buy. Hobbit with plenty of grenades. Dozier hasn't bought just yet. He will get some Kevlar as well. Very rare, but sometimes you see people leave and forget to buy anything. Dead Fox will have a smoke grenade and a defuse kit. Now, if they go into the B bomb site, Gambit, and the CTs are able to swarm with a smoke on the side, that would be very interesting. Issa delivering the first kill, Mir to trade. Does he hear Dead Fox, though, on that short B position?
Yeah, it's an interesting trade, actually. Definitely favorable for Gambit at this point. It depends, though, which route that they take and where HellRaisers are positioned as to whether or not HellRaisers can still use the range advantage of the USPs. And HellRaisers are really spread out here, so trading is not going to be too easy for them as long as Gambits are stacking up in their offense. And Mo might be in a 1v1 here, and I don't think he's going to spot this. Oh my goodness, that's an opportunity gone for Angel. Mo will be quite happy with that one, switches out for the USP, and things get worse here for HellRaisers, significantly so. Yeah,
you can see Angel doesn't know what's... Oh, hello, Oxic. Okay. Here's another player. The nice range of that P2000, and Gambit will say no. Oxic is A, let's go B. Dead Fox lies in wait with an off angle. Bondit can be the initial engager. Hello. Slowly but surely, 30 seconds on the clock. Smoke on the site. There's another trade. They've seen Dead Fox now, waiting for the rotation of Woxic as well, going for some pre-fire. Now they know Mira is on the site, and they will isolate the short player. Sees Mir fall back towards the monster tunnel. Now he's got his teammates in tow. Dead Fox is the one with the kit if he wants to get on it. He's going to hold it. He's going to soldier it. They've got a smoke there, so it is a human shield, but Woxic takes it in the face. And Mir is ready for the second frag as well. That's a pistol round to Gambit.
That was close. That had to be like 100 milliseconds or something. He was so close to the full defuse there. That was so brave to go for it as well. That almost worked out.
That is both pistol rounds now won by the Gambit side, which, as we know, has certain implications.
Ooh, it was 100 milliseconds or less.
So close.
It's a 1/10 of a second, James.
Tactical timeout from Gambit. An AK has been bought and is currently held by Mo. Hobbit's got the the MAC-10. Mir draws for the AK as well. So let's see what the HellRaiser side will have to offer. I see CZs being purchased. Now we do have close quarters in a number of different places for HellRaisers. The CTs get so much real estate to start with. And it will be interesting to see how Gambit choose to deal with that. Connector can be precarious. Ideally, they may want to, if they choose to venture into Connector, they may want to have the area above it so they can come from the top and the back at the same time. Let's have a look. No Kevlar purchased by HellRaisers, so if they lose this round, we may see them buy more Desert Eagles in the next round as well.
Okay, well, Hobbit, gotta be careful. I mean, he obviously on the CT side, we saw that he was quite familiar with the dynamics of Connector, putting a lot of emphasis around that position. So I'm sure he knows all of the eventualities quite well. And Issa! That's a great start there for HellRaisers. Can he get something else? Well, that spread. It's like he's safe for the time being, trying to get out of there. Shot in the back, though. And will have the anti-eco playing out here as Gambit start to rush up the long position. But here comes the flank. Get the C's at a long range, though. Can Woxic get anything with that? Looks like they will disappear and he'll find a MAC-10. And Adren will open up the A bomb site. So Gambit should be fine here, but oh my goodness, so much. What does he do? He's going for it. That's beautiful there from Woxic.
Hobbit now around the party area. Hobbit and Woxic will double peek him, and down he goes. Mo and Adren in the long position. The position of the bomb is roughly known. But, I mean, there's a lot that can be done here by both teams because of the low numbers. Adren's bell gets rung. Oh, that's not what he wanted. Maybe that's nerves. Now, they have no idea Bondik has rotated. In the short term, he basically gives HellRaisers an extra man if he can get into a useful position. But Gambit are moving towards that A site, so Dead Fox may be on his own for a while with the lowly Deagle. But Adren does not have much in the bank in terms of HP. He's in the red, soon to be dead perhaps. Dead Fox has to reload though. Bondik on the rotation, which the T's may hear, and a bomb goes down.
So tense here for Gambit. So many things that could go wrong. Mo still really not touched, and it may be that that's how things end. He does kill Dead Fox, leaving Bondik with the MAC-10, but the aim punch will be too much to allow him to have a chance in that fight. And oh my goodness, James, I think Gambit, there's a lot of ways they could have played that better, and so I think they got lucky not to lose that round. For one, I mean, they could have just, they had like 3 guys ready to push the site. They got the entry kill. They just didn't go in, though, for some reason.
The struggle is real, but the 3-round lead is real as well for Gambit, and HellRaisers are, for the most part, on P250s. Excuse me. Air conditioning is not good for asthma, especially when it's cold. Such is life. Bondik sees at 75 and 3 P250s. Raw peaks from the CTs, Wrangles being held. Woxic will be shown mercy from the Flames. And this anti-eco round, maybe brief from HellRaisers. From Gambit, sorry. 2 left, 1 spotted, 2 spotted, 1 left, none left. There it is, 4-round lead as HellRaisers come into the buy.
So perhaps, you know, stabilizing somewhat here. Although when you do go for those triple MAC-10s, it gets a bit awkward, you know, if you want to play those in the next round. So they are forced to, of course, swap one out. And the double MAC-10s will be pretty useful if they want to go for any fast plays. And you can obviously use them in those close quarters. You can use them typically towards the B positions. So we'll see if that will be the case here for Gambit. Hobbit and Dozio, the men carrying those, as you can see on your screens with our fancy overlays.
Tactical timeout from Gambit at the moment, FYI. What would be horrible for a MAC-10 player is if you go towards short B and as a boost, because you are not going to have, you're going to be holding a P shooter from that range. Although it's still possible to get something done, but very unlikely indeed.
Give me the B rush, James. It's a classic. The CTs have their first buy. They just you just contact rush them.
Yes, I like a contact play into B. No grenades. Just surprise. Look at all these trade fraggers. The first guy has to run wide though. Bear that in mind. If you're going for a rush into a site contact play, if you just stop as soon as you see somebody and block all of your teammates, you're not in for a good time. You've got to run wide. Take one for the team if you have to. Players have passed to the playground area. There is a clock on Woxic's position. That's got to be annoying. As soon as he starts to look away, a player runs out. Could have been an early frag, but it is what it is. Gambit focusing towards the A site so far. Dozio's taking a lot of damage. I think he may have just been tagged with a sniper rifle. Angel looking to clean up. Or it's a 3-1, and he knows Dozio's around the corner as well. Catches him after he throws the grenades. And that is a huge advantage for HellRaisers. It gets even bigger. Almost monumental, but Hobbit will get something out of this round.
Yeah, had to do it with the MAC-10. It wasn't ideal. There's a lot of HP. They need headshots here. Very quick headshots to make this one work. 2 versus 4. And Hobbit gets himself 1. Oh, Mo, big opportunity. The timing didn't quite work out, though. And the round will get shut down. And all because Angel goes for a very risky, very unexpected late peek into the fountain position. They did not anticipate any CTs to be there.
Calculated risk. If this works, it is huge. The pot will be glorious. It will be enormous. Can buy all the eggs and chicken I want. So the gap is close to 3. Gambit now with a full buy in terms of weaponry. They've got the AKs out, no more MAC-10s for now. and Mo is on the AWP. Let's see what Woxic can do on the CT side or later on, because currently he's in connector with it. So this is a, I mean, you got to be good to go for that peak. But again, if you don't rotate out of there fast enough, you can be completely exposed trying to get towards the toilets. He won't hang around. In the meantime, Hobbit was at the back or above. No, he's above actually. Hasn't gone down just yet. So it looks like it will be a slow round from Gambit, and HellRaisers seem to have eyes towards short B, or do they?
Yeah, so just a late emergence here towards the A side of the map. And, you know, one reason that's good as well is because there are some early timings where an AWPer will feel safe. And so if you take a later timings as a tease, you'll be likely not against that AWPer in those close positions, as they'll have to fall back. So they are not going to get rushed and taken down from various positions that are suddenly possible later into the round. And you can see, though, that Angel is holding a forward position there with a rifle. And that's not too uncommon. Woxic there with that AWP looking to support from the back, seeing if he can see anyone coming up from the connector stairs. Playing around these smokes can often be quite risky. There's nothing. 30 seconds, James. We've seen very little pressure one way or the other here from these teams. 25 seconds, and Gambit are doing exactly what HellRaisers were doing, but it doesn't look nearly as good, I have to say. 15 seconds. What are they gonna do now? Is there actually time to do something here?
10 seconds. I think maybe you just want to save at this point, to be honest. Like, you're not in the site there at 8 seconds. Just save. Just save. Just save. Sometimes you have to accept that, okay, we haven't been able to do what we wanted. We are in such a horrible position that let's just save. I mean, yeah, you have to. Just save.
I mean, it's really bizarre because it was at 1:15 when they were taking positions towards the bathrooms, but then they just didn't do anything after that. And perhaps they were just looking for a pick that just never came. But I think, you know, what you tend to see from a lot of the very top teams is they'll have protocols and say, okay, this is the initial plan in the round. However, you know, if we've reached X amount of time remaining, then we give up on playing for a pick and we try to take some positioning instead and force the issue, and then take it from there. But if you don't do that second stage, you just run out of time. Oh, there we go, Woxic.
Those who can pick that up. Even with 8 seconds on the clock, one person was trying to push the tunnel on B, and I just think like that left them with one less gun at the start of this round. But anyway, they kept most of what they had, and now Dozier has picked up the AWP. Let's see what he can do with it. Having a look. But the CTs have fallen back to reduce their risk. 3 smoke grenades on the HellRaisers side, and we are approaching the 1 minute mark, so knowing that Gambit may be playing for a slow game, that will make life even more problematic for them. Woxic will compound the issues of a clean shot onto Dozier's dome. So now we've got a 5 versus 3, Monster smoked off. Mir has short B for the T side, but they don't really have a lot else.
Yeah, the way this has been going for Gambit so far on this T side makes me confident that HellRaisers will take this map. You know, they have to create more opportunities for themselves. It feels as though they're trying to wait too much for mistakes instead of forcing mistakes with, you know, utility and smart use of team play and map control. Either way, we'll see if Adren can get something done here. There could be a good timing for him, and it will be Angel's kill and AK. So nothing doing now for Gambit in this round. They will have to save once again. And James, they just frankly need a new approach here. This very slow approach where they're trying to get picks as opposed to trying to create picks. You know, those are 2 different methodologies. I'll have to see if they'll adjust now and play more map control oriented. Force the CTs back, use that utility.
Counter-terrorists win.
So the round prior, they lost by timeout, which means you don't get any loss bonus if you're alive, but they were alive with 4 players. This time they were alive with 2, so things will continue to be difficult. What are they going to do in this situation? They've got some money to buy around the weapons that were saved, and AWP has come back out for Mo. Well, there's a Mac 10. Yeah, so it is interest. Well,
it's no utility at all.
Yeah, well, there's no money. I suppose it could have been instead of this, but then you'd have, well, I don't know. There's always a CZ, right? charging into the B bomb side, or at least trying to. So there we go. Adren going wide as the initial engager, and then the rest of the team trying to clean up Mir. So far, so good. He's taking Issa out, Bonded taking some damage. And Dead Fox is watching the smoke, but as he looks to his right, there are players moving to his left. And Nose is creeping on the corner as well. Planting the bomb behind the smoke now, and Bonded has a lot to do. Getting 2 kills for his team as the CTs continue to charge through. Hobbit with a nice spray there. That leaves Woxic alone. How does he avoid getting traded? Hobbit, oh, what's he doing? He has no idea where he is. He's just out in the open. Somehow still alive. Taking massive risks here. Grenade goes sailing in. Hobbit with 3 kills looking for number 4. And Molotov won't go deep enough, it seems. Will it be an instant trade? Surely it will be. Dozier's ready. That was a scary one, but Gambit find a way to get around.
And Woxic seemed to have misread the second player's position really enormously there. He seemed to think that he was towards barrels. Very interesting. Yeah, I was going to say as well, actually, you know, one way if you're reaching stagnancy and nothing feels like it's working, you know, those B rushes can be really good to just shake things up, you know, just get some kills, you know, get a win under your belt. Okay, maybe that's something you can't rely on, but it does break things up nicely after, you know, a series of rounds where you had a very limited success. And Gambit do have HellRaisers on the edge here when it comes to the money, so looks like they're going to take a similar approach, going for a heavy B presence straight away in there. This could be very devastating. Doge is good on this entry. He's absolutely blind though. Brilliant counter flashes coming in from HellRaisers, but still they're taking losses.
3 on 3, Dead Fox still on the side. Double Molotovs, almost going to the same place. Forcing Dead Fox forwards, and he will, while he's forced forward, see that nobody's in the bomb site, which means that HellRaisers will start to spread now. Gambit resetting the situation. The plus side for Gambit is that HellRaisers will have to go back and cover both sites. So having exited the B bomb site, wherever they choose to attack will be weaker than 3 people in one place.
Yeah, this is a classic move. Makes it really tough for the CTs. And if Hobbit gets a kill here, the round is just impossible. And that's a 1v1. And now Hobbit spotted Woxic. Woxic has an AWP though, and it's Woxic. Oh, did he even get a chance to hit the shot there? I don't even know if he pulled the trigger, but Hobbit takes his head off. And now Hobbit can just sit on that A bomb site, covering rotations. Oh, okay, good. Okay, Mo doesn't have the bomb anymore, of course. He threw it away. I thought that he had a bomb for a moment there, but indeed. Bomb plant here for Gambit. There might be a chance here for HellRaisers. There's time.
Does Hobbit hear Bondic going towards connector? If so, that is a great help. Bondic looking one way, Hobbit coming from the other. Quick reload for him. Adren on long as well. So it's Dead Fox. And he will give up on this one. He doesn't have a defuse kit, and that might have a part to play in it. But off he goes, and that will be round number 13 for Gambit. So they've found a way to win some more rounds. Again, they did win both the pistol rounds. All things considered, HellRaisers have been doing a good job. But can they get back to winning ways?
Yeah, and I've got to say that, you know, we've seen HellRaisers pick up a couple rounds, but if you ignore the pistol round that they won, those are the only buy rounds they've won. If we think about how, you know, where they've found success versus where they found failure, they found failure in playing defaults, and it doesn't seem like they really have a default that really runs into any effective, like forks into any effective, you know, mid rounds or late rounds. That got shut down entirely. The only success they've had is off of a B rush and then a B rush, effectively. And you can't just B rush every single round. So there is still, I think, a big ask here for Gambit to show that they actually can win rounds in any other way. So I'm still liking HellRaisers' chances here, but their money is definitely off balance.
Yes, $2,000 per person and the AWP on Dead Fox. He will... It seems he may carry it because he's the player with Kevlar. Otherwise, I'm sure Woxic would have the goods. Now, in a round such as this, at the beginning of the round at least, I'm sure you want to try and get a fast pick with the AWP or put it in a position to get an early pick before you start to lose these pistoling players, because of course you want them to be able to swarm, to collect weapons, to hold real estate and have off angles. And there we go. That's a great start for him. And the numbers are there as well for support. Adren is completely exposed. And it's almost 4 kills to Dead Fox, but there is no trade on this occasion. However, the bomb is back in T-spawn. Mir has to fall back to collect it, which means that if they dare, HellRaisers can pick up some rifles.
There will be a delay for that. I think HellRaisers, there is always a play where Gambit are protecting the rifles at this point, so they're not going for them immediately. And it's Angel lurking around close range with the CZ. This 1v1's massive. He picks it up. Doesn't take too much damage. There is an AK potentially, but he won't go for it. Falls back. He doesn't need it. A CZ at those ranges is very effective. Mir's on 18 points of health. He is not in a good spot here. I think we would actually favor HellRaisers in this position now, especially that Angel's picked up an AK. Mir needs to get very lucky with his timings to make this work. And he'll just creep all the way up A long to see if he can find that. Oh my goodness, an instant headshot as well from Angel. Very well played by Dead Fox. Beautiful AWP play, so confident and very decisive. And that is not what Gambit wanted. Now Gambit are actually in a position where they can't even buy.
That was awesome, but again, the supports he had was fantastic. So important with the players pushing through connector, and everything changes. Now Gambit wondering where all their weapons have gone. Still a 2-round lead for the time being, but does not appear that it will last very long, especially with all these Glocks in tow. However, HellRaisers, oh no, sorry, it was Gambit, wasn't it? In the first half, who had a sloppy anti-eco round. Ooh. Much better range. Oh, Woxy, that is absolutely beautiful.
The first kill's strangely difficult to land, actually. That first AWP shot. Two Deagles left. Some damage to be had, perhaps. Angel waits patiently. He's expectant, and great crosshair placement as always. And he will finish off the job. 12 rounds for HellRaisers and 13 for Gambit. And I think, James, at this point, they should just rush B again. I actually don't think. I think that there's not enough time to work out how to make those defaults towards A work, because they tried it like 3 or 4 times in a row, and it just failed every time in an enormous way. Double Mag 10 it's got to be B, surely. Let's see it. Let's see the B.
I guess they can start in connector. Ooh, I think you might be right. Mo's going to be throwing some grenades. Molly going straight through it. No fear whatsoever. There's a smoke from a teammate as well, but they're both in the red immediately. Dead Fox trying to get his Tizian on, but he can't do it. They've got the T's spreading across the site. Very important as well for the real estate, but Mir can't do it. Went through so many smokes, so many frags for the CTs. Issa still holding down the low ground. Dozier was red, now he's dead. And we've got 2 left, the Mac 10. Adren is in a strong position. That smoke's going to go soon, but will Issa get the cover first? Angel staying... Oh god, which one does he engage? Which one does he engage? Angel pulls a grenade out. 2 huge frags for Adren. Everything changes now. What's going to be fast? Great snap from him, but where on earth is Mo?
Big moment for Woxic once again. This retake has the AK. Mo's been really hot though for Gambit. 21 and 11 at the moment as he sits behind the smoke. Woxic trying to bait him out. He's running out of time, goes for the hold here. Will he come off? He does, and he gets it, but there is no time. Mo's done enough, and a very close one, but Gambit will take it with that B rush. Very good choice from them.
Mo smells the fear. There's no way he's holding this one. Takes some guts to do that. But look at the information play from Adren. That's absolutely outstanding stuff. What a situation. So many pushes through the smoke from Gambit. They really filled up the site. Stop the vision, and just like that, we go back and forth and back and forth. Everybody's economy in the bin. But Gambit are in a very strong position now because it's they who are 2 rounds away from winning the match.
Yeah, I have to say, though, I feel like HellRaisers overall have played a better Overpass in a sense. But then from some perspectives, I think, Gambit, there's a lot to be said for, okay, sure, maybe your T side looks really, really questionable. But if there is that one thing that works and you can just call it and have repeated success with that, then you screw it. And I'm glad that they recognized that and just said, you know what, let's not mess around with this A side of the map, and just B has been working. And it's been throwing HellRaisers off balance. Just keep to it. It takes some balls to call for that, I think, repeatedly, especially if you think that your opponents can read it easily. But we'll have a mix-up here from Gambit. HellRaisers need this round. They've bought up fully. AWP back onto Woxic. Dead Fox is stuck on an MP9, and their utility absolutely sucks. they surely have to get aggressive, and Issa can start it off with sewers.
Angel moving around upstairs, looking for something. That's a perfectly timed flashbang. Mir goes wide. Issa spray won't hit the mark. He was blind, of course. Some spray towards that short B position in case another CT is getting curious. So a man lost for HellRaisers. Is there a response they can have? Angel starting to flank the long position. He really wants to get something done. In the meantime, Woxic has fallen back, perhaps to cover a potential push from toilets. Now Angel's just biding his time around the bicycle area, but Mo might be peeking him soon.
This is so important. Angel surviving and getting information, maybe a kill or two, slowing them down. And in comes Woxic once again for the AWP. Angel kicks it off though. Big first kill. As now the trade is attempted by Adren. Angel defends, and with Woxic to support with the AWP, they're looking really good right now, HellRaisers. 3 players left for Gambit as they try to figure this one out. There's 30 seconds to go, and the bomb is very far away from a bomb site. What do? They have to take a huge risk here, and Angel is crushing this A play single-handedly.
I've got Bondic moving back on B in case rotation is required. Mir going wide, that's the bomb loss, that's everything. There are only 12 seconds left. And,
oh my god.
That is an ace from Angel. He's just wiped everybody out. I wonder what the... Well, I guess they had to do something, Gambit, because they're going to have a timeout and the money was going to be ruined. But you see, the flashbang came in from Mo, and that's something that... Sorry, from Woxic, and that's something people don't often talk about, is a sniper will often have to provide support flashbangs to enable this kind of thing to happen. That was so clutchly called for the flashbang, otherwise he probably gets wrecked, because when he went into the toilets, I think he was seen by the long plays in the first place. Yeah,
that ace is bittersweet for me, because there shouldn't be a world where Angel can get 5 1v1s, one after the other, like that. That's not good trading basics from Gambit, and it's a full Glock eco for them. HellRaisers have been handed a lifeline here, and they will try to run in with the pistols, and maybe it'll be successful. Woxic is too good though, surely. He does have support out of Bondic, who will eventually go down, and there are some frags coming back here in the way of HellRaisers, and they'll shut it down in the end.
Life is so hard of a Glock. You saw how close Dozier was to the CT. He still had to shoot him a 3rd time after hitting him in the head twice from that range. Absolutely crazy. But here we are. 14 apiece. And Gambit's money, I mean, they may have to play for overtime. This is... Oh, they're going for it.
B-Rush. James, when in doubt, B-Rush.
They are going for it.
Let's go B-Rush. It's happening, isn't it? It's happening again, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Well, Woxic's made his way down into the connector position. There are pop flashes for that area, and he's got Angel in tow, so this could be a very quick 5-on-5 on the B bomb site. Dead Fox not wanting to get caught with a grenade in his hand. Sees a flashbang of Poison. Great bursting, conserving his energy. He knows it's the rush. We've got Smoke Sound on the sides as well. He will fall back because of the Molotov. And HellRaisers will wait.
Yeah, this is a really hard spot. HellRaisers way more prepared, just as you said, for this eventuality. They know this read. Mir, though, that's a beautiful headshot. They need some more clutch headshots like that to make this one work because of how much HellRaisers understand about the round. They've got all the information. The flank is coming in from Angel as well. I think that Mir's looking for it, but he's only got 9 HP, so he needs a very strong off angle to deal with this. Angel checks for everything, even finds the headshot himself. And now, once again, we go back to Dead Fox here on the bomb side. He's been savage in some of these scenarios. Let's see if he can do it again. Stand still, though.
One by one. They're pulling teeth. The string is tied to the door. The door's getting slammed repeatedly. This is still winnable, though, because it's a 2v2 on the site. Make it 3. And it's Hobbit now. He's got 30 seconds to try and clutch this. 1 versus 3, but there's a player behind him. There's 2 mini-man. And now it's match point to HellRaisers. This has been... I expected it to be quite a back and forth, but man, this is going down to the wire. But what do they do now? They've got about $2,700 average. Gambit. There's no timeout from them here.
Nice.
But there are some CZs.
And it was only a matter of time as well. You could see that, like, again, like, you know, you pointed it out, just it became so obvious to everyone watching, in fact, even letting the players in the server, that B-Rush is so favorable for Gambit. And happens. HellRaisers, they're going to be up against another B-Rush. Here comes Gambit. Can they make it work? Even if you expect it, it is so chaotic. These pistols all over the place. Look how fast they are going across the bomb site, pushing every single position with the MAC-10s as well. And Dead Fox once again delivering here for HellRaisers. Picks off every single one, and they'll do it. HellRaisers 16-14. Oh man, there was a lot of spots where it didn't seem like they were going to win, but I think they deserved it.
Quite the back and forth. Man, that was a really tough match, I think, for both teams. Lots of difficult situations, difficult spots for both sides, but ultimately it is HellRaisers to just take it over the line versus Gambit. I mean, it's easy to say with the score, right? Because it's 16, it's all 30 rounds, but
Yeah.
I almost feel like an idiot saying it, but I feel like it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I feel like...
Because sometimes the score can be misleading, but I think that was like...
Yeah, I mean, it's the T. Both teams had really questionable T sides. I think HellRaisers had a better T side than Gambit. Gambit looked really lost. Like
they did look lost actually.
They had loads of spots where they couldn't trade properly, and spots where when they were kind of distributing around the A side of the map, it felt like they didn't know what to do at a certain point. And so eventually they're just like, well, rushing B.
In fairness, yeah, I take back what I said because they did kind of like just force the issue on B as a last resort almost. It felt like so. I think they were deserving winners. HellRaisers, yeah, they did win both pistols as well. So ignore everything I just said. I think HellRaisers deserve to win, absolutely.
Yeah, and you could see as well, like it was really a super frustrating game for them because they felt that too. They could really feel like if we lose this game, like we really shouldn't be losing this game. It's the best of one. It's very punishing, but thankfully from their perspective, they managed to make it happen.
Freya is downstairs with Angel.
Thank you, guys. Yes, I've managed to grab Angel and Bondic as well. Sorry, they're just sorting out their stuff.
Oh, it's okay.
Guys, congratulations on that win. How did you manage to make that comeback?
Thank you, and it was like pretty hard. As you see, like when it goes to like big pressure games, we do a lot of stupid mistakes, as well as Gambit, to be honest, played really well. It's like this game was about just individual like decisions, individual moments, and I am really happy that in the end we came out like as the winners.
I just wanted to talk about one of those individual moments, being Dead Fox's 3K, I believe. It was on round 24, I think, where they came out of B Connector. What happened there? How do you feel like that was a turning point for you in that game?
Do you remember this moment?
I don't remember.
Or do you feel like there was any particular turning point for you guys?
I think my ace was a turning point when we had like not the best buy, and I was in long toilets, like, and they like tried to push me from like both sides, mid and long. Somehow I managed to kill everyone, and like after this I had like eco and bad buy. I think this was like a turning point.
So Bondic, what do you feel you changed coming off of that loss yesterday against Liquid?
It's a pretty hard question, to be honest, but I feel like yeah, we preferred Inferno better, but I feel like Liquid was on next level team on this stage, so we didn't take it too much serious, you know, like we lost, but we knew that we lost to one of favorites in this tournament. So yeah, so we just was confident in ourselves and everything fine.
Because Overpass is quite a tactical map. Do you think this favors your gameplay and your leading style?
Yeah, I really like Overpass. Like every time when it comes to Major, Overpass is always like HellRaisers' best map. I know how it's happening, like, but usually it is. I can say right now that Overpass is our best map, but we're ready to face almost any enemy here.
So I just want to briefly talk about Isa and Woxic. I spoke to them a couple of days ago, and they were saying when one of them's on, they kind of bounce off of each other. How do you cope with that as an in-game leader, and how do you work around that?
I don't care what they say. I just took them like personalities. I don't think about them like a duo. Let them think, okay? Let them think they're a duo and stuff, but like they're completely different like players inside the game. I hope it's like benefits them to play together, but I don't think this way.
So you guys are now 2-1. How is it feeling going into tomorrow's games? Are you feeling a lot more confident now?
I think we were confident, but it doesn't matter. Our goal is qualify to the next stage, so we will see, right?
Thank you very much, guys, and congratulations again on the win. We're going to head back over to the analyst desk.
Spectacular, grueling 30 rounds, and HellRaisers just pit Gambit at the post, and it didn't look like that was a guarantee for HellRaisers towards the end of that one. Real nitty-gritty, 8-7 on the first half and a 9-6 to clinch it out.
That was a pretty much atypical HellRaisers game where everyone on the team chimed in from time to time.
Right.
I think there's 5 frags between the top fragging guy and the lowest fragging guy, where normally it is FACEIT showing up, and then Dead Fox, Angel, and yeah, the last player is not necessarily having too many frags. So in that regard, it was a little bit atypical, but overall, I would say like a super interesting match, and I think it had a little bit of that domestic, you know, around the game, because it didn't feel too pretty all the time.
Yeah, the thing I like the most about Gambit, I think Mo really stood out for me on their CT side. He had a lot of entry kills and a lot of multi-frag rounds. But right here you see this ace. This was the turning point in the match. And this is something I alluded to before when I talked about Gambit, is Angel in 2017 was one of the highest fragging IGLs in the world during that period. So to see him step up right there is huge, and that really pushed them over the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, that was crunch time, right? And as he said, and he alluded to in his interview, that it was, of course, it broke the money, put them on an awkward bye, and it did give them the chance to close it out in regulation. We could have been very much staring down the barrel of overtime had he not pulled out some heroics in toilets. Yeah,
the one thing I also wanted to touch on was I think both teams definitely have better CT sides. Both teams on T sides, especially Gambit, they had that one where they didn't even really do anything, and then there was 8 seconds left, and they were trying to hit a site. And then HellRaisers kind of had one that it wasn't as bad. They defaulted A, came back to B, and there's like 20 seconds left. They got mollied off Monster, and they couldn't do anything.
So can you help me understand how that happens? How does a situation like that happen? We're talking professional Counter-Strike, some of the very best in the world, top 10, top 15, top 20, whatever it is. The very best. We've seen it happen to Astralis at times as well. How does a team like that, and a team like we just witnessed play, fall into the trap of just running out of time? Is it indecision, or is it something more confusing?
A lot of the times is you have a plan for the round, and generally you don't get the information you want. And I think there's also miscommunication mixed in with it, and time mismanagement, obviously.
Right. Yeah. So it's almost like you're counting on something that doesn't come.
You're counting on something that doesn't happen, and then you have to adapt in the game. And sometimes you deliberately want to run down the clock. You want to wait for that mistake. You may be playing a team where you think these guys are super aggressive, so at one point there will be a mistake to take advantage of. In this case, it was just a little bit weird because nothing happened, and that's where you see the good teams, they're able to make it happen, especially in Na'Vi sometimes when they're running down the clock. They're super confident and super comfortable running down the clock because they've tried it so many times, whereas a team like HellRaisers, Gambit, is not their speciality. So when it does happen, it looks a little bit foolish.
8 seconds left and it's a 5v5 without a bullet fired. You're like, my goodness, this is tight. Yeah, we'll bring up the head-to-head as well, because we talked about it at the start of our pre-match, where we wanted to take a look at one player from either side. You mentioned Mo, of course, and another standout performance from the Gambit AWPer.
And I did say that FACEIT, you know, would have a great time against a guy like Mo, but in this scenario, it was Mo all the way. I think he's been having one of the best tournaments he's had in a long time. This is his 3rd game in a row where he's basically the best player for Gambit, whereas FACEIT was a little bit quiet throughout this game, and he hasn't really hit the level we expect from him yet. Maybe it's due to the visa issues, maybe it's down to him not feeling super comfortable playing in LAN environment again, because he has been out for quite some time. But overall, I think FACEIT did alright, whereas Mo, he can be super proud of what he's achieved so far this tournament.
No, absolutely. Gambit now, though, are on that 2 losses. They've got no chance for recovery. They've got 1 game, of course, before they could fall into that loss and eliminated from the major or the challenger stages. And that is not the same for, of course, HellRaisers, who are now going to be very comfortable and are feeling good. They picked up a win versus North, a win versus Gambit, and the next target they'll be setting their sights on will be decided by the draw at the end of the day. Tyloo Optic is where we go next, and then we'll be talking about those 0-2 teams. We're going to be sending teams home from the major. It's going to be a painful band-aid to rip off, but for now, we take a break. And when we do get back, we're going to be talking all about the good stuff between Optic Gaming and as their battle continues versus Tyloo. The Chinese side have already managed to shake the stands here in London. We'll see how they fare versus Optic after the break.